Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex discussion. Today, we're going to have a long and serious conversation about the overdue battle that is coming with Sarada versus Kawaki. This will be more of a video essay than a discussion. It's something that's been positioned very slowly throughout Boruto 2 Blue Vortex that is a lot closer to happening than you might realize, and we're also going to talk about why this upcoming arc could be the catalyst for the battle that we're going to see later on down the line. Join me in today's newest Naruto Explain video where we go over the important narrative seeds and the writing choices that go all the way back to Boruto Naruto Next Generations as far back as 2019 and explain how all these seeds are a classic example of what you longtime viewers of the channel have heard me say repeatedly. With manga, it pays to go back and reread the story, especially if it's a monthly manga or it's a quarterly manga that comes out once every 3 to 4 months. Otherwise, you get people calling developments that we have in the story, like say Ino refusing to help Shikamaru, something that they say is random, when the signs are there the entire time. So I think most of us would agree that Sarada versus Kawaki, it's been foreshadowed pretty heavily in Boruto Part 2. It was spoon-feed pretty well when you go back and you look at how Sarada was all up into Kawaki's face, telling him that she won't let him do as he pleases while in the village and that she would stop him because she wants to be Hokage. That's as in your face as it gets in terms of storytelling and foreshadowing. An idiot could see that. But now that we've established the awakened Shinji threat and the story appears to move away from Konoha, I not only think we're going to see tensions escalate even further between these two in the coming arc and arcs in general, but I also think that we're going to see one of them, potentially both of them, harden their stance towards the other, especially now that Boruto has escaped from the village yet again. However, in order to truly appreciate all this, we have to go all the way back to what we got here, because I said in the intro, this was a long time coming, seeds being planted as far back as 2019, which is where we're going to start, because you have to understand the change that has occurred in Sarada's character in order to particularly appreciate where we are, especially when it comes to her stance towards Kawaki, because she's showing those Uchiha genes, they are strong within her when it comes to love, which I'm not referring to her loving Kawaki and say that way. Let me be clear, because anytime you do that, people think that you're shipping. So from the moment that Kawaki first appeared in Konoha, there was initial tension between Kawaki and Sarada. Everyone could see it. You could cut it with a knife. Sarada tried to follow Naruto's example and go out of her way to make Kawaki feel welcome in the village. She tried to ease his transition to show him that not every face he saw was an enemy, and like Boruto was trying to mimic Sasuke, Sarada was trying to mimic Naruto, trying to take after some of his better personality traits, because she, like Boruto, aspired to be in Naruto's position the way that Boruto wanted to be in Sasuke's position. Yet when she did this, Kawaki pushed back, which is totally understandable. He was someone who wasn't used to being treated like anything except an object, a tool meant to be Ishiki's vessel. His life had no meaning, yet here was Sarada trying to do the same thing for Kawaki and make Kawaki feel at home, even when he was nearly attacking kids on the street. Throughout the entirety of the middle section of the Boruto story, when Kawaki was trying to get adjusted, we saw Sarada trying to do the right thing by Kawaki, even at times setting aside her own jealousy when she saw Kawaki was getting personal training from Naruto, something that she had always wanted. But because she understood what Kawaki was getting was more than ninjutsu training, it was him getting a chance to see life from a different perspective, she put her feelings aside. After she met her mother at Ino's flower shop and was returning to take home flowers to Sasuke, which the anime changes to Sarada getting flowers to Kawaki for some reason I don't understand, she rushes immediately towards Naruto's house, fearing for the safety of both Naruto and Kawaki, despite her own admittance that she can't do anything to help. Because in that moment, she was thinking WWND, what would Naruto do? And she knew her answer right away. While Jigen was beating the flashbacks out of Naruto, which God knows there's a lot of them, Sarada was yet again trying to comfort him and find common ground with Kawaki, saying, there were times where I just wish that I could be Naruto's kid instead of Boruto. I was jealous of Boruto. For a moment, as they went through the Boro fight, it looked like these two finally turned a corner, with Kawaki viewing her as a comrade when he accepted Mitsuki's suggestion that she be the team leader, and he fell in line. Kawaki's a consequentialist, and he understood Sarada calling the shots gave them the best chance to survive, something he literally says. He follows the plan that she came up with in the manga, and he gave her the critical intel that she needed to target Boro's Ninja Tech Core when things started getting out of hand. Yet that began the moment where both of their characters would ironically split. Kawaki and Sarada saw Momoshiki take over Boruto's body and destroy a transformed Boro, who was so strong Team 7's whole plan was to unseal Naruto and have Naruto, for as tired as he was, fight Boro because they were in over their heads now that Boro was no longer holding back. One saw Boruto through the eyes of a concerned friend watching Boruto go on a rampage, unaware of what was going on with his body, but the other, they saw it completely different. Boruto was now a monster in the eyes of Kawaki, and he saw the surge in power that Boruto displayed and his survival instincts that kicked in. He knew Boruto was a threat if this would continue, but Kawaki, he didn't jump to assumptions right away. He wanted to collect more evidence, and it will be over the next 2 days that he finally get it when Amato revealed 2 days later that Momoshiki was being resurrected using Boruto's body, and Momoshiki would definitely be a threat. For Kawaki, someone who has a deep hatred and fear of the Otsutsuki, his brother became someone who subconsciously he was beginning to fear. He was a threat that he would eventually have to eliminate. From this point onward, Sarada was nowhere to be seen in the manga, something that God knows Boruto fans complained about for the next year and a half straight, which in hindsight is exactly what I was saying back when all these people were complaining. It's a monthly manga, and Boruto was doing with Sarada what it did with Sasuke at times in the Naruto manga, which is it kept him out the manga for 18 months to 2 years at a time, and that what was going on with Sarada now just felt like forever because it's a monthly manga. 15 straight chapters of no Sarada, 15 straight months, and we see them on screen together. When it finally happens, it's open tension between these two. Sarada was trying to continue by using ninjutsu and chakra training to show him a different way, but Kawaki, he was less receptive here for the following reason. While Sarada was in the hospital recovering from several broken bones from the Boro fight, Kawaki saw how overwhelming the power of the Otsutsuki is in the form of Ishiki, where he made Naruto and Sasuke, the two strongest shinobi in history, fall at his feet with ease. His literal first image of Naruto when he arrived to the battlefield was to see burial mode Naruto getting choked out and then stomped out of burial mode by Ishiki, being held hostage like he's a Disney princess in a movie. That was trauma, putting fear of the Otsutsuki and hate of the Otsutsuki even further into Kawaki's heart. His next thing that he saw was Boruto again losing control, this time Momoshiki hijacking and destroying Sasuke's Rinnegan, and then Momoshiki attempting to capture Kawaki. He saw Boruto was too afraid to use Karma, a sign that Boruto, on top of being susceptible of getting taken over, he also couldn't control the power of Karma, and that was a bad combination. Sarada never saw any of this stuff. She never heard that Boruto was going to eventually be replaced by Momoshiki. That never happened in the manga. Kawaki heard about that threat that was coming, and he saw the threat flashing warning signs, taunting them as the day was growing nearer. To Sarada, Boruto was a friend tormented by something she didn't fully understand, but Kawaki saw Boruto as a monster who was coming to take everything they held dear, including Kawaki's life. Kawaki was the one who saw Boruto once again lose control and almost kill Naruto, the second time in 6 months. For Kawaki, he almost saw an Otsutsuki kill Naruto. The first time due to the sheer power of Ishiki, and the second time due to the fact that Naruto was unable to fight his son due to a mental nerf and his refusal to harm Boruto as long as Momoshiki was in control. Kawaki saw that weakness of Naruto, and he knew the Hokage, for as strong as he was useless due to his emotions. Kawaki, for that reason, had carried on the burden of killing Boruto. Sarada in chapter 69, she was purposely kept out of the conversation where Boruto and Sasuke were discussing Kawaki killing him. She never found out in the manga that Momoshiki took control of Boruto's body and almost killed her idol Naruto. All she knows is that Kawaki had killed Boruto, and when she tried to save Boruto from Kawaki killing him a second time, Kawaki almost killed her, which resulted in Boruto getting the scar over his eye. And she, for the last 3 years, spent the entire time thinking Kawaki killed Boruto's parents until Boruto told her, and class repped the truth about what happened. Kawaki saw Boruto as a monster, but Sarada went from seeing Kawaki as being this damaged boy who needed to be fixed because he still had a soul that was worthy of being saved, to seeing him as being the very monster that Kawaki believes Boruto to be, which made that entire stare down in chapter 5 have a different layer to it, and Kawaki picked up on it when he tried to justify himself to Sarada, saying that he is an Otsutsuki blessed with the power to kill other Otsutsuki. He was trying to gas himself up, and Sarada wasn't buying what he was selling here, standing in open defiance. It's all about perspective. Think of this from this perspective here. She was what Tobirama wanted the Uchiha to be, which, contrary to popular belief, it's not for the Uchiha to be extinct or that Tobirama was a racist. Watch the Hokage Legacy video on Tobirama if you think that. No, Sarada was Tobirama's ideal Uchiha. They love hard and their powers are strengthened by their emotions. In particular, love can strengthen their emotions, which in turn began to become the greatest weapon in the Sharingan, but love can also turn into hate. But after she awakened the Mangekyo following the trauma of Naruto's death and Boruto's despair, she remained loyal to the village and she did not become corrupted by the Mangekyo's power the way that past Uchiha, even her uncle's Itachi, wasn't unblemished by that power of the Mangekyo, and even Shisui felt extreme guilt and unworthiness about the Mangekyo's Sharingan, which I've covered in other videos. That never applied to Sarada at all. Sarada harnessed that power that she gained, and she was now solely intent on using it to destroy the greatest threat that she saw to the village in Kawaki and protecting the village, which, as Tobirama would say, is just as what any good Uchiha would do. Boruto's story, part 1 and part 2, they positioned Boruto as being the anchor for both Sarada and Kawaki for two different reasons, showing that two people can view the same person in different perspectives, especially when one has all the info and the other one doesn't. Kawaki being the former, Sarada being the latter. Sarada couldn't understand why Kawaki was so quick to have Boruto cuffed, yet we as the audience know is based on what he's seen in the past, or at least we should know that, as well as knowing that Boruto has a space-time ninjutsu and he could escape. The next layer to their dynamic is gonna come likely when they are sent out on that mission to the Sand Village, which would be the first mission since Team 7 started this whole house arrest arc, and we see Sarada likely learn about what Boruto's done when Momoshiki took over, because again, in the manga, she's never been made aware of those details. Kawaki came to the conclusion that Boruto needs to die, which means keeping consistent with how Sarada is positioned as the yin to Kawaki's yang. She is likely going to come to the conclusion that Boruto needs to be supported and saved, causing a further rift between the two because one wants to kill Boruto and the other wants to save Boruto. This Sand Village arc, assuming that they get sent out together, it holds potential to be a much bigger arc than you might realize because of the interaction between these two characters that they can have together, as well as laying seeds for the moment that Mount Sarada erupts on Kawaki and we get that battle, which it will be ironic. The boy obsessed with Naruto doesn't understand Naruto well enough to come to the answer that Sarada would. They both idolize the same man, yet one is a closer representation of Naruto's will of fire than the other, in spite of the other having an upbringing more similar to Naruto's, which would make you think would allow him to better understand and reach the conclusions, and most importantly, accept the conclusions of Naruto's will of fire. Yet it just goes back to both nature versus nurture and perspective, which is almost as important as watching the Naruto video essays that are in this playlist on the right, or clicking here on the left for my Black Clover video essay on my other Anime Explained channel, where we talk about everything except for Naruto and Boruto, because all those videos are privated.